Hey, good evening and welcome to the 13th annual Down and Out Homeless Fundraiser. We're your MCs for this evening. I'm Kenny and this is my wife, Nija.
We're the pastors at the cathedral across from Smoky Row, and it's been a joy to watch Joppa grow as we've supported them over these past 13 years.
And tonight we're excited to be coming to you live from their new Homeless Resource Center right here on Euclid in Des Moines, Iowa.
We miss seeing everyone in person and hope we'll be together next year again, but we appreciate everyone's participation and support virtually tonight. So wherever you are, whether you're on your couch, your dining room table, maybe you're watching on your phone or your computer, we want to say thank you for tuning in.
Now, in the next hour, you're going to learn more about Joppa. You'll hear some exciting updates. You'll watch some inspiring videos, and then you'll have the opportunity to purchase some critical Fund a Need items to help the homeless survive this brutal and cold winter, as well as equipped to help open the Homeless Resource Center.
While we've all become familiar with virtual technology over the last year and a half, here's some tips to help you get the most out of your experience tonight. We recommend not making the full video screen. That way you can navigate to other information and links during the show.
Now, if your screen ever pauses, which it might, simply push the play button again to pick up where you left off.
And if you're on your computer, to the right of the video screen, you can see the big donate button. You can click that at any time during the event to make a tax-deductible gift to Joppa.
Now, just below that, next to the donate button, is the word chat. You can click on that to post comments or if you have questions throughout the event.
Yep, and if you're on your smartphone, you'll see the same Give Now and chat options under the video when you scroll down.
Now, later in the event, we'll talk about a Fund a Need opportunities, but right now, you can bid on the Smile Silent Auction item.
Yep, you can have the perfect smile orthodontic experience, which includes an exam, x-rays, bonding, adjustments, removal, and retention to give you or a loved one a perfect smile. This is a $6,500 value, and we want to say thank you to Dr. Jeff and Stacy Sturdivant at Smile Orthodontics for donating this package again this year.
Now, you can bid on this package throughout the event by scrolling down until you find Smile Auction. Now, click on that and place your bid.
Now, this is typically our most popular auction item each year, and the auction will close tonight promptly at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Now that we've done that and it's out of the way, let's officially kick off the program with a tour of this new Homeless Resource Center.
Homelessness doesn't have a look, but they do have some similarities in the fact that they're lacking in resources. And instead of going out and giving them resources, which Joppa does on a weekly basis, they can come here and come to the Homeless Resource Center. So you walk in and it's a warm, welcoming environment. There's music playing, there's a smiling face to greet you and a person who cares, right? You can come over here and clean up a little bit, maybe wash your hands, have a snack. We've got some coffee that, you can warm your soul, and then fill up your water bottle. Super important. After all the coffee and water, you might have to use the bathroom, right? So this is the computer station. If you need to contact your family, apply for a job, apply for housing, it's all right here. And these cool little desk area can slide up and down, one size fits all, right? And if you need to contact anyone by phone, they actually have a phone booth here that you can call, and it works. Hey Mom, I'm okay, I'm at Joppa. If you got some cuts and bruises or anything like that, first aid station, super important. And if you're in really bad shape, you've got a defibrillator here, and we've got people that are trained to use them. I want to show you this area. This is the survival supply store. So if you need any immediate items that, your pants are ripped or whatever, we have jeans, we've got a bunch of different toiletry items, and coats and socks and shoes and hats. So whatever you need to feel like you can go out there and survive, And then this is the pickup window. So if you want to pick up like a bottle of water, a sandwich, some snacks and that stuff, but you can also pick up some mail. A lot of the times you need a mailing address for job applications and things. People need to send you anything. This can be the place where they can send their loved ones a package, mail, and you can come pick it up here at this window. If you do have a cell phone too, you can charge it right here at these charging stations. Isn't that cool? So there's a million different scenarios of homelessness and why someone's in that situation. And the Joppa Homeless Resource Center is there to help soothe those situations, whatever they are. So, and to make people feel at home, give them dignity, honor, and fulfill them with hope for a purpose.
I have to say, I am so impressed with this facility and all the additional resources that will be available for people experiencing homelessness.
I agree. It's a blessing to our community and especially to those in need of its services.
Now, and Joppa will not be able to Joppa wouldn't be able to touch so many lives without our incredible volunteers. So let's watch a video right now about what it's like to volunteer at Joppa.
I started going out to homeless camps with my Sunday school class, I don't even know, 5 years ago maybe.
I started volunteering with Joppa after seeing a video at Lutheran Church of Hope.
I had multiple friends and peers that I work with who are already involved in Joppa, and they knew that Joppa was looking for someone to help pull together a strategic plan.
So I just showed up and, hey, what do you need? So I got assigned to a route.
We went all over I believe it was probably the red route that we went to, and we visited campers in their tents, and some were in shanties and shacks.
I think it opened my eyes to how many people in need there really were in the Des Moines area. I had no idea.
And we had a great time. We went out and it really struck a chord in my heart.
So we started with that and haven't looked back.
One of the things I really, really love about Joppa and volunteering is the volunteers that you meet. It just amazes me every time I go out on outreach, every time I volunteer, or every time I'm at a meeting, how many people really, really care about the homeless and give of their time and their energy and their finances to help improve the lives of all these people who are so less fortunate than we are.
My favorite part is probably talking with the people and not just giving their stuff, just getting to know them on a more personal level.
It makes my heart feel good. I leave Joppa every time just bursting with, just a really great feeling.
Yeah, this is a calling. This is where I need to be. And I'm happiest when I'm doing it. I have joy when I'm doing it. Yeah, I work for a living, I have to pay the bills, but this is where my joy is. This is where my heart is.
For me, I can see a difference in the little things that we do every day, and that's important to me.
First of all, we're taking care of people who cannot really take care of themselves, and we're helping to not just sustain them with food and heat and shelter, but to help lift them up, give them hope.
Sometimes, they're out there at night and they don't even feel like a person. And then when Joppa comes in, they feel like a person again. And to me, that is the biggest reason to do this. I know just being there gave them, the knowledge that someone was caring about them. And that was very important to me. It wasn't that I was finding housing for them, but that they knew someone cared. Especially when I'm going out in the middle of winter and it's minus 10 degrees, just to know that, they've not been forgotten.
I ran into people that I thought were in danger of dying that very day, and we would get them out of their situation and take them to the hospital.
My philosophy is just do something. And I tell my friends that, and they get on board. Sometimes they donate. I think it's important to know, even if all you can give is an hour, give an hour. If all you can do is donate supplies, do that.
You come upon folks who know they're having to go back on the move after an eviction, and they just don't know which way to turn. And they one thing they can count on is Joppa. And so in the face of all this uncertainty, Joppa gives them some certainty in their lives. And so I think one of the biggest things that I've experienced is just this, being a part of an organization that these folks can count on.
Thank you to everyone who stepped up to help. Being able to offer continuous support of this population during the pandemic has been amazing, and we just couldn't have done it without the committed and caring volunteers and donors.
For more on that, let's hear from Joppa's CEO and co-founder, Joe Stevens.
Good evening. My name is Joe, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Joppa. Thank you for joining us this evening for our 13th annual Down and Out Homeless Fundraiser. For those of you that are just learning about us, Joppa helps homeless people survive, find housing, and rebuild their lives. Our mission is to create communities of unconditional love, support, and hope for the homeless as we work together to prevent and ultimately end homelessness. So how do we do this? Joppa visits with people living under bridges and tents and in vehicles at least once each week, 52 weeks a year, regardless of weather. Most people living in these conditions have exhausted all resources, used up all the time they're allowed to stay at the homeless shelters, and they simply have no place to go. We build relationships, we help people get off the streets, and then we continue that relationship through our aftercare and Circle of Friends programs. With the support of private donors like you, Joppa has helped nearly 500 homeless families and individuals get off the streets. And more than 80% of these men, women, and children remain in housing today. But our ultimate goal is to end homelessness, and we can end homelessness by working together as a community to ensure the support systems are put in place to help anyone in need get back into housing before they become chronically homeless. People that are experiencing homelessness need us now more than ever. Sadly, we have been seeing increasing numbers of homeless individuals since COVID-19 started. And worse yet, about 1 in 3 of these fellow human beings is facing homelessness for the first time. Some of you may have seen the video on our YouTube channel about Daniel. He is a veteran and was a quality analyst at Wells Fargo last year in March when the pandemic began. 6 months later, after being laid off, Daniel was unexpectedly homeless. Can you imagine suddenly losing your home and being out on the streets? For some of us, that's hard to conceive with our families, friends, savings, and investments. But what if you lost everything, perhaps during the pandemic, and no longer had any of these resources to fall back on? Not having a support system of family or people you can trust is a leading cause of homelessness. And with the eviction moratorium ending in our community, we expect to see a flood of people out on the streets for the first time with nowhere to go. As we're preparing for winter here in Iowa, think about how dangerous it will be for those living outdoors. Last winter, we helped more than 200 individuals survive the brutal cold. Being present in homeless camps, especially now, takes on increasing significance, and we are committed to continuing all of our programs and services as the need grows. In fact, as of this week, Joppa has provided 690 consecutive weeks of outreach and aftercare to homeless families and individuals in Greater Des Moines, regardless of weather or even COVID-19. We have been blessed with amazing donors and volunteers who have enabled Joppa to continue providing all of its programs and services without interruption throughout the pandemic. And tonight, you will have opportunities to help save lives during the months ahead and help us open Iowa's first Homeless Resource Center. We have been in our new expanded location on Euclid Avenue for more than 18 months now, and we are so excited to invite you to join us for the Homeless Resource Center grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony and open house on December 14th at 10:30 a.m. Conveniently located on a bus line, the Homeless Resource Center will augment our outreach and aftercare programs by providing a warm and welcoming place for people to stop in and visit throughout the week. People can get food, fill water bottles, charge phones, pick up mail, make private calls, and access computer stations. There's also a free survival supply store with winter gear, blankets, clothing, hygiene items, and more. This resource center will inform people of all homeless services available locally, where they need to go to meet specific needs, and how to access those resources. Additionally, work has begun on our first Thrift Mart store, right next door to the resource center. This nonprofit thrift store will sell gently used clothing, including shoes, jewelry, and accessories, as well as housewares and home decor. Proceeds from Thrift Mart will provide a sustainable source of funding to cover Joppa core operations, as well as provide job training opportunities for people working their way out of homelessness. It will also raise awareness with new audiences about how Joppa is helping to end homelessness. While the pandemic has slowed down construction, we're planning to open Thrift Mart by this coming summer. And rather than taking donations from the general public, we're already accepting donations for quality items privately from our donors and partners. So now there's another way you and your friends can engage and help end homelessness by cleaning out your closets and promoting supply drives for these items in your workplaces and churches. As many of you know, the main cause of homelessness is the lack of housing people can actually afford. That's why Joppa began developing innovative housing concepts several years back. We built our first cottage home in 2019, and we're planning to build more of these homes once the construction costs come back down. Joppa cottage homes provide dignified, permanent housing that's truly affordable, with rent starting at just $250 a month for efficiency units that are designed for people living on Social Security income. But they can't be built fast enough, and there are many experiencing homelessness that have no source of income and don't qualify for any type of housing assistance. These individuals need a safe place to go to gain a source of income and overcome any other barriers they may have to housing so they can get back on their feet and begin rebuilding their lives. To meet this expanding need, Joppa has been seeking approval to build a tiny home village. Late last year, I formed the Joppa Village Coalition to advance this initiative. It's co-chaired by Mayor County and Christine Hensley, and council members Linda Westergaard and Josh Mandelbaum serve on the Village Coalition, along with Polk County Supervisor Matt McCoy and the Deputy City Manager of Des Moines, Matt Anderson. We started meeting monthly last December with the goal of finding appropriate land for the village, gaining the requisite approvals for this land use, and helping raise the funds to build it. We reviewed hundreds of properties and landed on 2 locations on the south side of Des Moines. The project faced some challenges this year during the rezoning process that we're working to overcome. The tiny home village, featuring loft cottage tiny homes with full bathrooms and kitchenettes, will provide a roadmap out of homelessness along with the support needed to get there. You can see our loft cottage model home on display at the Shared Roots Community Garden in Cheatham Park. In fact, when you're driving west on I-235, look up to your right just before you pass the Keogh Way exit, and you'll see this loft cottage up on the hill overlooking downtown. Strategic America built this prototype home over the last few months, and once we have the land approved, the other loft cottages will also be built by volunteers with help from our friends at Habitat for Humanity. This Housing First village model has proven successful across the country, and Joppa will continue working to move this project forward in 2022. None of this would be possible without generous donors like you. Joppa depends on private funding from our financial partners. And tonight is our annual fundraiser, which funds critical services to help people survive, find housing, and rebuild their lives. We can't do this alone. We need your partnership and financial support to continue our work. And as we ask for your support, it's important to us that you have complete confidence in the work Joppa does. Our track record speaks for itself. My family started Joppa out of our garage in 2008. We volunteered full-time for years and grew Joppa with very limited resources to hundreds of volunteers and a small staff that have helped nearly 500 men, women, and children find housing and rebuild their lives. We've always been committed to transparency, with 2 CPA firms overseeing our finances from the beginning. This has earned Joppa a Platinum Transparency Seal, the highest rating available from GuideStar, which is the world's largest source of information for donors to review any nonprofit's financials, governance, and accountability. Joppa has also earned a 100% rating from Charity Navigator, which rates a nonprofit's level of commitment to good governance, best practices, and openness with information. As the organization has continued to mature, we recognize the need to review and enhance our board governance policies and procedures. And last month, we engaged Jim Galvin, a well-known expert on nonprofit board governance and the author of Maximizing Board Effectiveness, to help us with that work. Additionally, we're excited to have added 2 new board members, Jim Hagberg and Bill Mack, to the Joppa Board of Directors. Both have been supporters and volunteers, and we're grateful for their seasoned leadership, their experience, guidance, and commitment to Joppa. It's getting colder out now, and you are likely watching this from someplace warm and safe. But so many people in our community are living outside right now without shelter or heat, without the safety of being surrounded by walls or the security of a locked door.
We have an obligation as a people and as Iowans to recognize and do everything we can to help our homeless.
We know that cold weather is coming, we know that hardships come, and we know that all of us need to think together, work together, hope together, and pray together to help those that are less fortunate.
Tonight, by supporting Joppa, you can help us save lives this winter, open the Homeless Resource Center, and move our other projects forward. Thanks again for joining us. I hope you will be inspired to engage with Joppa to help end homelessness. And now, I'd like you to meet our friend, Scott.
Well, I was 2 and my brother was 4 when my grandparents got us. When my grandparents got me, I was running to the walls. And they took me to a psychiatrist and to see what was wrong with me. Come find out, my mom had me on sleeping pills. And that's why I was running into the walls. I don't know what that did to me, what if it messed me up or what, but I had a lot of problems growing up. But my dad was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. I don't know if you know where Tom, Iowa is, but that's where I was raised. It was a wild town. More drugs and crime than there was work, so a lot of the kids just got in trouble, and I was one of them. This is the house I grew up in until I was probably 18. These little trees were all little babies at one time when I was here. I hope my grandpa planted these. We used to go fishing a lot. There used to be a pond right down there. I'm glad my grandparents raised me and taught me how to use my hands. And I did work for my grandpa. He kept us busy as kids, keep us out of trouble. It's funny how you see things later. You don't see it at the time. Hi there.
Hi, babe.
Hi there. That's my aunt in there. She kept almost everything original in here. Same doors, same outlet, same everything. Pretty neat. Grandma had a desk right there, and that's where she did all of her office work.
She'd be so proud of you right now. Okay?
Yes.
She would be so proud of you. I think the turning point for Scott when he started going the wrong way was when Grandma passed away. Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That took a toll on him.
I think she's watching.
She is watching. And she was watching over you, too. When you weren't here, she was watching over you.
Well, that's when my grandparents passed away. That's pretty much all I had. My grandparents was my mom and dad, because they raised me. I ended up coming to Des Moines, because there was more work, framing houses and doing construction. That's how I ended up here. And then I met my wife and we got married. We were together 10.5 years, almost 11. Then after the divorce, I tried to keep the house. I was there for about 1.5 years. And then things just caught up with me and I lost it all. Pretty much gave up. I was drinking. I was trying to drink to fill the void. I still had a job after I lost the house, but I just couldn't keep things in line. I tried to make it in my car at first, and I stayed on the bridges over here. And then after I lost my vehicle, me and my dogs ended up coming down here. Tried to make one place for me and my dogs because I couldn't take them to the shelters. And I wasn't going to give up with my dogs. I don't know if that's normal or not. Some people would give up their animals before they hit the streets, but I don't know. I think that animals are almost like people. They have feelings too. I like that responsibility, having to know I got to take care of something. I think if I wouldn't have had that out here, I would have been worse. I'd have to admit, it's hard for me to be here, looking around, seeing my devastations. I got jumped over here. When I was on the ground, I had a seizure, and dude was still kicking me. And I was at the hospital for 2 weeks and didn't even remember it. I got frostbite 2 years ago, and my hands are starting to come out a little bit, but they're still white. I can't feel anything on my fingertips. It can really mess your head up, being out here. I know it's damaged me. I hope that someday I can be normal again. You know? My lowest point was when my dog passed away. Yeah, she just started not feeling good one day. She wouldn't eat. I picked her up and I took her down to the ramp and I showed my friend and I said, hey, maybe I might want to take her to the doctor and have him look at her. And I was like, well, if she ain't good, I'll take her back tomorrow. When I picked her up and carried her back, I didn't make it to that corner bin right there where the water was coming through, and that's where she passed away in my arms. She went really quick. she didn't go in pain. If it wasn't for those dogs, I never would have made it, I don't think. She always made me smile. When I see bad things happen, or when things ain't going good, I always tell myself, hey, there's something good coming right around the corner.
The whole time he lived in Des Moines, we always stayed in somewhat contact. I'd go up there when he had his apartment before he was out, and we'd visit, and once that fell apart, then we really kind of disconnected. Time kept going by, and I had some friends up in Des Moines, one that was pretty active in the community. She messaged me your guys' name and information and said I should check there. I mean, it's a pretty big area to be looking for somebody, so it was like a needle in a haystack, really.
He was trying to find me. He knew a lady up here, and she said, call Joppa. And that's how it all started.
So yeah, we got his location, and me and Dave went up there one night after work, a dark, rainy, cold night. I never thought he would say he was ready to come home.
It was that night I heard somebody hollering down here. It just totally shocked me. I hadn't seen him for a long time.
I'm like, is there anything you need at camp you can't live without? And he's like, well, my clothes. I remember telling him, are the clothes something you would wear to a job interview? And he said no. I said, well, you don't need them.
I left everything. What was important was me and my life, and my dog's life, and I was able to walk right away from it. One of the best parts is when it rains, I don't have to pull a tarp over me. Stuff like that.
It's all right, buddy.
Now I don't have to go to Des Moines and wonder where you're at anymore. That is the huge relief off me. Because we love him.
I love the show. Taking time readjusting, but it's all good.
Oh, you've come a long way. It's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be right here to help you.
He'll be just fine. He got a lot of responsibilities here. He's already started, working part-time and building his strength back up and just getting back into the routine of regular, normal life. I mean, he knows I never gave up on him, always cared about him, always loved him. He's got a place to stay here as long as he wants to. I mean, I'm gonna force him to stay here if it comes down to it. I mean, glad you're back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Wow, that was a very moving story. It really shows how the family that we're born into and the environment in which we're raised can have such an impact on our lives.
I'm so thankful for the family that I was born into. Now, since Scotty's story was filmed earlier this year, Scott has volunteered on an outreach with his cousin Jason. And that's common for people who've come out of homelessness, and Joppa has helped.
Yes, absolutely. And we want to remind people that you can donate to Joppa at any time by clicking the donate button. And if you're on your computer, it's to the right of the video. If you're on your phone, just simply scroll down and find the Give Now button just beneath the video.
Now, all donations are tax deductible and will fund the homeless outreach, winter survival programs, and the new homeless resource center that we're standing in. Your gifts will help more people like Scott get back into housing and rebuild their lives.
That's so good. Keep bidding on that perfect smile package in the Silent Smile auction. And I want to remind you, bidding will close at 8 p.m. tonight at the end of our event. And if you have any questions at any time, we're here for you. So use the chat feature to talk to us.
Now, we'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsors for this event. The first is Mid-American Energy, and then second is Ballast Capital. They are the premier sponsors for our Down and Out Homeless Fundraiser once again this year. They did it last year too.
That's great. We'd also like to recognize our sponsors, BSB Design, Mail Services, Polk County, and Wells Fargo. Thank you.
And now now it's your opportunity to give towards our life-saving survival items. Now, if you're on your computer, click survival items, and then under Help the Homeless this winter heading to the right of this, right over here to the right of this video.
And if you're on your phone, scroll down and click the Help the Homeless this winter, and then click on survival items.
Now, we're going to introduce each one of these items one by one so that you can see them. And as you can see, there are several levels of funding for each item. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to donate and for you to make a difference. Now, anytime you wish to purchase one of these, simply click on the item and then click donate to add it to your cart.
And as a reminder, you aren't bidding against anyone. Everyone is encouraged to purchase these tax-deductible Fund a Need items. What you do is you buy them tonight here at the fundraiser, and Joppa will deliver them to those most in need through their weekly outreach and aftercare programs. We can all come together to help homeless people in our community survive this winter.
Now, our first item is food security and household necessity. And let's see why this is so important to the homeless and the recently homeless individuals.
Long story short, with an EBT card, you can't get any pre-prepared food. It has to be something that you have to prepare yourself, something packaged or
pre-packaged and uncarked.
Some places you can't even get like fresh fruit or some of the healthier items on a SNAP card.
No toilet paper, no paper towels, no toothpaste, toothbrush, no anything. So when Joppa comes on Sunday, they definitely do everything that they can, and today is Sunday. So they came a few hours before we started doing our interview, which was very, very helpful.
Like we said, our first Fund a Need item is food security and household necessities. And this is an example of what comes to those who have come off of the street and are finally into housing, because I don't know if you know this, those who are involved in subsidized programs or the SNAP program, which is an EBT card, it only buys food, but normally it just provides for about 3 weeks out of 4. So there is a need every single month for those who are coming off the street and have experienced homelessness, are now in a subsidized situation, going further into a life with purpose. Now, this is an example of what comes each and every week from the volunteers that come and check on those that have come off the street. And I don't know if you know this, but SNAP and those programs don't provide things like paper towels and toilet paper, dishwashing liquid, you know, and even things like scrubbing things, hand wash. That's so important. I couldn't imagine living without toilet paper. I couldn't imagine not having dishwasher soap when we have a need like that. So Joppa provides those through their volunteers each and every week.
Absolutely. This is through their aftercare program. So Joppa not only wants to help people in homeless situations, but they also want to end homelessness. Isn't that wonderful? And for $87, you can help one person for a full month. For $5,203, you can help one person for 6 months. That's half a year supplying for them on a weekly basis.
And if you wanted to help one household for an entire year, that is $1,402 for an entire year, taking care of their needs that the government programs and the subsidized programs don't. This is important. When you come off the street, when you have your first place and you don't have enough, it's just vital and important. Give it the level that you'd like. The next several items will literally keep people from freezing to death in our community this winter. Our next item is winter survival shelters. Can you imagine living outdoors in this Iowa winter with no place to go? To understand what that's like, let's hear from someone who has lived like that.
Once I got in contact with Joppa, they got me a tent, which got me from sleeping on the floor. And I was able to at least have my own personal space and a shelter over my head, which to me was a godsend. I remember the first night that I slept there, I almost cried because I was so happy that I had space and I didn't have to get up in the wintertime and go out in the cold.
Even though I'm homeless, I did have a home because Joppa provided me with a tent.
When you have no place to go, the only place you can go is to the woods, and Joppa will help you survive outdoors.
When we first came down here, we had nothing, and Joppa, they gave us tents, they gave us blankets. It seems like they go out of their way to help you.
Our next item is winter survival shelters. Shelters, it's like the foundation of building a house for survival. If you're homeless, if you don't have a place during the cold Iowa winters, a shelter provides a barrier from the elements. This particular shelter is an example of what the Joppa volunteers delivers to those that are in need. And they just don't do it once. They come out and they actually help them set these things up. It has a sturdy tent. It has a rain fly so the rain doesn't come through here. It has a very nice insulated sleeping bag, a pillow. And then this mat right here is really important. This mat is made from woven plastic bags right here in Iowa. And that mat it may look like it's there for comfort. It's there for survival. Yeah. The ground runs 32 degrees or less in the winter, and our body is supposed to be 98.6 degrees. Yes. And if you don't have that barrier, you could go to sleep in a sleeping bag and not wake up. Hypothermia could set in. This complete package is available, and you can buy one of these packages for only $150.
Right, and if you want to buy more than one of these packages, you can get 5 shelters for $750. Wow. And if you even want to do more than that, this is great. For only $1,500, we can get 10 of these shelters. We can help people stay warm. And another amazing thing about this is if they can't put it up themselves, Joppa sends volunteers that will help them set it up. These are great volunteers and so needed.
So 1 shelter, $150, 5 shelters, $750, and 10 shelters, $1,500.
Picture living in a tent this winter with no housing or shelter options. You would need a source of heat to keep from freezing to death. Let's learn more about Joppa winter survival heater systems.
I remember one time we were walking back to our tent and I tripped over something in the snow, and it was a guy who was curling up in a tent that had been laid down and was like passed out. If I wouldn't have stepped on him and tripped over him, that dude probably would have frozen to death.
Without the heaters that Joppa helps with,
and the propane,
the heaters, the propane, we wouldn't have survived.
Our next fund and need item is survival heater systems. This is an example of the package that comes. It includes 1 heater, it includes the hose, it includes not just 1, but 2 20-pound propane tanks. Listen, I use one of these while I hunt. I hunt in a blind, which is much like a tent, in the middle of winter. And I couldn't stay outside in the winter without one of these, even in a tent, for more than 2 hours. Could you imagine being out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not having, like I do, a warm truck to get back in or a cabin? This is vital because when it's lit, what it does is it creates an atmosphere that you almost feel like you're in your own living room because it's warm and it's safe too. This won't catch the tent or the sleeping bag on fire.
Right, and if it tips over, if it tips over, it's safe. It's going to turn off. The people won't get hurt. And Joppa also sends people out every week to check on these machines to make sure they're working properly and to make sure they're not running out of propane. And for $125, this will purchase 1 heater system. And for $625, 5 of these systems.
And for 10 heating systems, that's 10 households, 10 tents that could be heated for $1,250. Now remember, the tent is the foundation, but this is necessary for body temperature and to be able to survive these harsh Iowa winters.
Yes, and again, $125 for 1 heater system, $625 for 5 of them, and $1,250 for 10 of them. This is wonderful and needed. Thank you.
That's right. Heater systems, of course, require fuel to operate each week. Joppa delivers that fuel during the winter. Now let's hear more about why heater fuel is needed to help people survive.
The Joppa organization has made certain that I've had propane and a propane heater that is legal and fit to have in my tent. It's kept me warm this winter. Without the heaters that Joppa's supplying, I'd have been in trouble.
If it wasn't for these guys bringing me propane, I would have been dead somewhere, froze to death.
Our next fund-to-need item is winter survival heater fuel. These are 20-pound tanks. They're the safest that's available. They've got the new valves. They've got the hose, of course, with them. But it's not only one tank when they come out each week, but it's a second one in case they run out during the middle of the week. Fuel is vital to heat the tent. The heater is great, but without fuel, it's like having a car without gasoline. It won't do what it's supposed to do. Remember, this creates an entire environment, and this for you would be like the electricity and the natural gas for your home. This is the power source that keeps those who are experiencing homelessness alive. It's vital and it's important. Can you tell us how much that somebody can do this and provide fuel for somebody?
Absolutely. For one person for a full month, you can give $60. And if you want to help 5 people for a full month, that's $300. And 10 people, again, for the full month is $600. And again, Joppa volunteers will go out and exchange these propane tanks for them to make sure that they don't run out and get cold.
And you may think that's a lot, $600 for 1 month. But I don't know if you've been watching the news. Fuel is tripling this year. Natural gas and propane is tripling in cost this year. That is a bargain. To be able to keep somebody warm all month long during October, November, or December for only $600. Go ahead and select the level that you like and that you can support, and we thank you for everything that you do.
Up next is warm winter survival boots. Durable, waterproof boots are essential when living outdoors in the winter, and you're going to see about this.
The hardest thing about being homeless in the winter is not having the right gear to transport myself from one place to the other. My shoes, if my shoes get wet, they fail. My feet get cold, I'm unable to function.
You have to keep dry feet. You know, once your feet go out, then it's done. There's some people I know that wake up to their hands and feet, being frostbitten.
Our next fund-to-need item, is survival winter boots. This is an example of the type of boot that Joppa volunteers will bring to those that are in need. It's not only the boot, but it's also a warm wool sock. And I want to tell you, I use these type of boots when I hunt in the winter. This is 800 grams of Thinsulate. 800 grams of Thinsulate that insulate the foot, that keeps the body temperature in the foot. I don't know if you know this, but most homeless people walk nearly 20 miles a day. I used to have a paper route, and my feet would get so cold, even in the best boots. These are better than anything that I had at that age. I couldn't imagine walking in the slush and the sleet and the snow, because once your feet get cold, guys, it's game over. Most of our body temperature is lost either through our head or our feet. They regulate. Hypothermia can set in if your feet get cold and frostbite. These are wonderful boots. They're waterproof too. The most important thing is that they keep their feet warm, and it keeps the whole body warm, doesn't it?
Yeah. And to get to food, you need your feet. Again, like Pastor Kenny said, if your feet are cold, you're pretty much done for the day.
You've experienced that in the tree with me, haven't you?
Yes, I have, and it's not fun. So if you want to help just one person to get a pair of boots, that's only $90. What a great gift. Or for $450, you can get 5 pairs of boots to help 5 people. And if you want to go over and above, 10 pairs of boots for only $900. That's wonderful.
That's a tremendous value, because sometimes for a gram, 800 grams of Thinsulate, you can spend $140 to $160. And those are fine leather boots, waterproof and insulated. Now, our final fund-to-need item tonight is in this new homeless resource center that we've been standing in. We're standing in it right now. And as you've seen tonight, this amazing center provides a warm and a welcoming place for people. It's also a place where those experiencing homeless can get supplies. It provides a safe place to get help. It's a resource that's needed to get back into housing. It helps people build that life of meaning and purpose.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful place. And if you're on your computer, go ahead and click on Resources under the Help the Homeless This Winter heading to the right of this video.
Now, if you're on the phone, scroll down and click Help the Homeless this Winter, and then click on Resources.
We're also excited to announce that for this final item, we have matching funds.
Yeah.
So whatever amount you give toward the new Homeless Resource Center, that's going to be matched dollar for dollar.
So if you give $100, that turns into $200. If you give $1,000, it turns into $2,000. $2,500 turns into $5,000. Maybe you're in a place that you've been moved tonight and you want to give $10,000. Guys, that turns into $20,000. You realize how many boots that is? Do you realize how many people that would feed? It doubles the amount that you get. The Homeless Resource Center, it's a real game changer for Des Moines and Central Iowa. Now, it's even more important now because the eviction moratorium is ending, and so many people are facing homelessness for the very first time in this cold Iowa winter.
Right. And the Word of God tells us that when you give, you're actually honoring God. So we want to thank you for taking time to give. And this concludes our 13th annual Down and Out Homeless Fundraiser. And as a reminder, please make sure that you've checked out your cart.
Now, you can still give a tax-deductible gift to Joppa by clicking on the donate or give buttons. Now, for this resource center, let me explain some things before we go. This has a place where the homeless can come in and they can charge their phones. They can clean their phones. There's food for them. There's coffee. There's a welcoming place back here. There's computers that they can look for jobs and get all the help that's available to them and subsidize things. And even there's a mailbox system, so each and every homeless person can have their own mailbox. And I don't know if you know this, but that's key to being able to get help and subsidized government help, which enables them to come off the street and begin to rebuild their lives to have hope and a future. So, and as you can now give toward any of these items that we've seen tonight, the Fund to Need items, and use under Help the Homeless this winter. Remember, right under here, Help the Homeless this winter.
And this is so wonderful. We ask that you also keep bidding on that perfect smile package in the silent auction. It's a $6,500 value that was donated by Smile Orthodontics. That means every dollar bid will help people experiencing homelessness. Bidding will close at 8 p.m. tonight at the end of our event.
Now, we've enjoyed being your MCs this evening, and to close out this wonderful event, I'd like to welcome back Joe Stevens.
Thank you, Kenny, and thank you, Nija. Thank you all at home for joining us tonight. Because of your support, Joppa can help people survive this winter, open the Homeless Resource Center, and continue investing in fundamental solutions to end homelessness. Please visit our website at joppa.org or follow us at Joppa Outreach on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And check out our YouTube channel to learn more about homelessness and find ways to get involved with Joppa. There are a lot more videos there like the one you watched about Scott tonight. On behalf of everyone that's experiencing homelessness right now, thank you for tuning in. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and a joyous holiday season.
Thank you, Joppa. Thank you, Joppa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joppa. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Joppa.
I thank God that the Joppa organization was there.
Thanks, Joppa.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you, Joppa. Thank God for Joppa.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I thank you.
All of this is thanks to Joppa.
Thanks to Joppa.
Thank God, Joppa.
Thank God for you guys and your donors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joppa.